Hey, welcome to Blue Jay Banner post-game show. We're live here at Let It Fly, where it was a packed house tonight of Rapid Jays fans. There were two St. John's fans in the crowd.
Yeah.
One guy sitting at the bar who was screaming air ball every time we threw up an air ball.
Yep.
And I wanted to go down there and say, so how did the Husker postseason go? And there was a guy sitting next to me. He wasn't going crazy, but he was a Husker fan, but he was cheering for St. John's.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get, okay. Whatever.
Of course.
And he knew. He goes, yeah, we suck. But there was somebody else to understand. But everybody else is going crazy, especially in the first half. But that's all she wrote. Jays go down in a heap. 82-66. They're breaking it down right now on CBS Sportsnet, which is a great show, by the way. If you love college basketball, that's a show you got to watch. Pete Gillen on there right now, breaking it down. Welcome to the show. Hey, thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe and like button. It helps us out a lot. Also, go down to chat. I'm scared because now tonight there's no chat. So then I wonder, is my chat working? I don't know.
It's working. It's working, Tim. It's working.
You think so?
Yeah, I know it's working.
Well, there's nobody chatting though.
There's not too much to chat about today.
Last night was bonkers chat.
No,
How's
yeah.
the chat?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Jays go down. Just give me your first thoughts.
My true opinion, I think I've been saying it all year. You've been giving me a lot of flack for it. St. John's, to me, might be the best team in the country. I'm top three. I'm taking them over Auburn. I'm taking them over Auburn.
They get smoked by those teams.
All right, well, we're just going to see. I don't
forget
like
Auburn.
I'm the guy who I roll the ball out. I don't like talk. So it's like I would like to just see the game
forget Auburn. Florida, man. Florida's looking really good.
That's
Houston?
fair.
Houston? Yeah. Uh-huh. You want to play with the referees just swallowing their whistle? Yeah, go play Houston.
Go play.
Yeah, let's see how
St. John's though.
Let's see how this goes. Guess what?
Come on, man.
Guess what?
Because now you're discrediting our guys.
Houston's not going to throw up bricks.
No, I know
Houston's going to make some shots.
They are. But you also you gotta they get hands on they get a deflection every time down the court defensively.
Yeah, because they hit people's arms.
They play old school basketball where hand was ball. That's
no,
which
they're hitting
kind of
arms.
used to be.
No, not hands. They're hitting arms.
No, that's what I'm saying. So they're playing hand as ball. So if you put your hand on the ball, they're grabbing hand,
which is a foul. Which is a foul. But
depending on rule book, this is going back to that trial.
Oh, we're not going to go to the rule book again. No, we're not going back to the rule book.
No. Patino knows rule book.
Here's the deal, though. I looked at the game. I said, we got Driscoll, who I think Mac gets along pretty well with. Yep. Potter, who Mac gets along very well.
Yep.
But those two guys have swallowed their whistles all year. Not forget St. John's. Fair. Every game. Yep. Okay? And then Tony Chiazza. Well, I'm going to tell you folks something. Mac does not like. Nobody in the coaching staff likes. They think he's a bad official. And he's a horrible official. Horrible. Like, they totally missed that travel. He's standing right in front of it. The guy's foot went this far. How can you not blow your whistle on that?
I can never call a ref a bad official.
They're bad.
My pass.
He's bad. Anyway, I don't get. Here's what I don't get.
It is what it is.
Here's what I don't get.
We're Big East basketball,
it's the Big East championship game.
Exactly.
Okay? All right.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you have O'Connell, Clockerty, guys that have reffed this game time and time and time again?
Because then they're going to be too handsy and too hands-on with the game.
No. They're not guys who call every foul either. They let it go a little bit, but they can control the game and because
they have bigger fish to fry as well. Probably.
No, they don't.
I'm assuming
they would love to ref this game.
I'm assuming they're in the tournaments.
They've reffed. No, they're not reffing tonight because they.
No, I'm saying right. They're not reffing tonight, but they're probably reffing Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
But so are these guys. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's a hit or miss.
You can't. Okay, Ashworth just shoved a guy because he was getting frustrated.
Right.
Foul. Right.
They caught
3 minutes later. 3 minutes later, Wilcher just shoves him. Same exact play, no whistle.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Protagonist.
What is that?
Protagonist. They catch the second guy. Generally.
No. Ashworth shoved a guy. Okay. Now, if he was being held and grabbed and everything.
Well, yeah, before that.
They never called that all night long, so you got to let that go. You got to let that go.
That's kind of what I'm saying there.
Then he shoved a guy because he was upset because he was frustrated. Right. On the other end, same thing happened. He just shoves Ashworth. when Ashworth wasn't even that close to him, but he just shoved him. He went flying back and no call. I just don't.
Which he kind of acted out a little bit.
God, no.
The
Watch
one on Ash
replay.
was an act as well. There was, Oscar
a little bit,
one.
yeah.
But a lot of that too, if like you're in the scrum, a lot of guys you're doing this, you're holding, you're hooking, you're doing all that.
I'll tell you what, Patino's very good at teaching his guys to just act like they're shot by shotgun. Like that one on R.J. Lewis, it was a foul, but man, he went down like, it was the greatest.
Yeah.
So I think Patino's very good at coaching. I'm not saying he's good at coaching.
Yes, man. He's Hall of Fame. That's clear and above. But storyline here, Tim, at the end of the day, so we can't get too upset.
He said, do you think Fred committed those two fouls? I thought the one he did, the other one he did. I thought it was 1-1 there. I mean, the one where he goes straight up and edge forward.
My opinion was they wanted Kalk back on the court, right? Like that, everybody. But then the refs are going to do what they can to get him back into the game.
The same play on our end, Kalk wasn't getting that call. So
he wasn't. But they also didn't want to see Fred in the game. Is a lot of that point.
I get it, but then
saying?
don't. I'm not going to.
But it just is what it is. They were in New York.
Horrible.
They were at home.
Horrible. Yeah.
That was going to be.
So now the Big East has got to look at this. Like St. John's hasn't been good in 3 decades, right?
Right.
So now they've got to kind of look at this. Like, are you going to want St. John's? Let's say it's St. John's. Let's not say St. John's and UConn because then it's 50-50, and maybe even Villanova if it's a championship game, right? Mm-hmm. But with St. John's and Marquette, let's say Marquette was just a terrific team. Man, that's a tough call. And here's what I think. Is back in the old days in the Mountain West, UNLV would be like the 4th, 5th seed. They'd win that tournament every year because it was on their home court. Mm-hmm. And the other teams are like, this is kind of not fair because we're not going to get a lot of bids here,
Yep.
And, is the Big East going that way? I don't know. I mean, you got to play at Madison Square Garden. I get that.
That's just what it is. They've always been there, too, right?
Yeah.
And, there's so much behind them, right? It's not just the university. It's the state.
I would love
the state of New York, right? the state of New York was behind them. I know you're
goo-goo gaga over this team, but come on. We were totally gassed,
I'm not, but they were both gassed.
Oh, come on. Austin, they're deeper than us. B, we lost Fedor, so that just totally screwed us up.
Yes.
C, we've played, some of our guys have played 88 minutes coming into this game, man.
And what have we said all year?
I know, but that's a big advantage. They rested their guys the first game.
So what does that come back to, Tim?
What do you mean? Was it come back to? It was just the way it
coaching. Then
out.
At that point, so then we got to get Ty Davis. We got to get spot minutes. We got to get guys start getting more rest. So it is what it is. But that's. But
we went to overtime.
It's not Superman, so it's like we can't make the excuse of these guys are tired. This is a championship game in the Big East.
I get you're not catching what I'm trying to say here. I'm not making an excuse for us.
They had a little more energy.
Right, a lot more energy. So I'm just saying I would like to see us play that game where we both had 3 days off and then played.
Fair. That's just not how it goes, though.
No,
right?
I know, but I'm just saying I don't think. I think
if it was Butler.
So you're seeing this score and you're going, oh my God! Like all my bracketology buddies will be like, well, see, Tim, they're way out in front of everybody. That game was a hell of a lot closer than the final score.
Then if you just look at the score,
right?
Yeah,
don't you agree? That game. That's why we had St. John's on the ropes.
That's why I think this game is just literally they just exited because there's no reason to even really pay attention to that. At the end of the day, there was so much riding on it.
I would like to see it.
No, I hear you. I hear that.
That's why I think you're way overrating the St. John's.
I don't think so, Tim. I think they're on a floor still.
That's what they are. They can't hit shots. They're going to play somebody who hits tons of shots. They're going to be 20 points down.
They can't hit shots, but they're going to play defense.
They are, but they're going to be
nobody has played defense.
We missed some open looks.
We missed some easy shots. We missed a lot of.
We could have been up. What were we up at halftime? 6. We could have been up 12 easy.
Yeah.
And then the second half, we missed some shot. I'm just saying, they're going to
turned up the pressure a little bit.
You're going to have to show me.
No, me too. But I'm just saying, as far as where I've seen them in pockets when they play bad and when they play great, they're head and shoulders better than everybody.
Well, when they make 13 shots
because they got the thing, especially when they got that guy over there leading the charge.
What they did was they just went downhill on us. Which they kind of should have been doing from the get-go.
True.
Which I didn't understand why they're jacking up those shots.
I feel they're the only team, too, that doesn't fear Caulk, right? Like you could just kind of see it of like attacking the big fella, hitting him in the middle of his chest, getting to the rim. They were just somebody that
guys like Richmond who are so long can lay it up around him.
Right.
Know?
So it's just a little, that's a little bit different. And nobody sees that. And I think there's not going to be anything else that they see that's like Caulk.
They have a roster makeup that is perfect for the way Pitino has set this up.
Right.
Defensively, pressing, a lot of depth. Not particularly skilled offensively, but they're just all over the floor. Right.
They figured it out.
Yeah. And we were giving up. We gave up some easy buckets late in that second half that we normally wouldn't give up.
Right. Which is fatigue, right? Like at that. Yeah, absolutely. But it's like, this is championship game, and, we can't.
I mean, we laid it all out there in the first 14 minutes.
First half, we looked amazing. Even
27, 28 minutes. We laid it all out there. And then we got a big break with the technical. We kind of got back into it again. I think we'd cut it to 2 there, and then they went on a run.
Yeah.
And they just took it at us. That
technical was a little bit sketchy there, Tim.
Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal.
He didn't brandish a weapon.
I get it. I don't get what the difference with this is and what he did. I mean, they're really pretty close. But Pitino was trying to say, he said 3. I go, no. He went like this.
But not even that. He didn't brandish a weapon, though. And that's like, I hear what you're saying. But, like, at this point, right, you're not calling fouls. Who cares?
I know. That's really funny.
Just let those guys play, man. Right. Like, that's kind of where I'm like upset.
They're letting him play like crazy.
And then you call that.
Oh my God, the roof blew off at the CUSA championship. That's why they had to stop the game.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. Is that game over, or did they just stop it? I thought that game was over. Hold on, let's take a look. CUSA. It was a great game, by the way. 2 teams that kind of got shafted that should have been in the hunt for an at-large.
Who we got?
UAB and North Texas. No, the game's over. 66-56. So they must have just kept on playing and said, screw it. Wow. Okay, that game, I think they play, where did they play that at? Somewhere down south, I guess. But anyway, that big front that we had yesterday went through those places. I know Indianapolis was out of power for a while. But anyway, but that, I mean, I get what you're saying there. Like, and it wasn't like he went.
Right. Or pulled his shirt up. Like when you're actually.
And the problem is, if he'd have went like this, I think it would have been okay, but he went at Ashworth.
Fair.
Fair. So that's where the refs saw it.
Fair.
But,
what's his name?
He was not taking any of it. Driscoll was not taking any of it. Right. He goes, no way.
At that point, it was like, that was one of the softest calls that we've seen some terrible ones, right? Like the Ash push off was questionable. There was a lot of just questionable things. Fred's second one, I think, was
even at the end of the game was out of reach and Caulk reached in. When Richmond was going in, that went off Richmond.
Right.
It went off his hip.
It went off his legs. Yes, absolutely.
And we have had that call going against us a million times this year.
Absolutely.
I just like, even the refs impacted.
But that's when you're kind of, that's when it's like, we're in New York, St. John's, Pitino, Coach, it's just like, all right, fall into it.
Wow, was there a lot of redneck crowd tonight? Holy cow.
Was it?
Like, I've been there twice, and there's been almost no redneck crowd, and wow, there was tons tonight.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean, Tim. It's more. They got more riding than just that university. Like that state needs something good for them,
the city,
right? Like
city,
right. Like it's like
I
got all these professional teams that are just doing what they're doing.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure and go to the chat, man. We need some chats. I know it's a Friday night. Oh, Saturday night. Saturday night. I lose track of time. Sorry.
Saturday night.
I've got 0 sleep in the last 2 days. So anyway, all right. Yeah, the other thing too tonight, going back to your overtime game, we got the total opposite of Caulk tonight. I thought he was really soft, man.
He expended everything in that game, though.
Yeah,
That's like I have never seen him. There was times where he moved. He was like the quickest guy on the court.
I mean, that dude. I have
never seen that.
Third string center is big, but he ain't that big.
No,
Hulk should go up and ram
like that
ball
hook shot
right
in the second half. It was just kind of like he kind of gave no effort, but it was just like
I'm just like
he had almost packed it in himself.
I could see right from the get-go, and he bobbled the ball a couple times, and I don't know I'm sure Asher's just tired, but God, for him to throw up a couple air balls is crazy.
Yeah.
Jemiah just played his tail off again tonight.
Yep.
I thought.
Played well.
Yeah.
He played well.
Jay Green didn't have the impact he had last night, but still.
Showing his strides.
He had to play a lot more minutes
tonight.
And Jackson played better tonight. Shot the ball better.
Jackson is
still getting rebounds, still helping out on that end, which is really key.
Jackson.
But, man.
Yeah, Jackson showed me a lot that, like I've been saying all year.
St. John's. Who would St. John's see as a potential 7? Let's assume there are 2. I think so. Kansas, Gonzaga, Missouri. Okay, that's a great question. I think here's the problem with the 3 teams you listed. You could say they're 8 seeds. You could say they're 6 seeds. You could say Missouri's almost a 5 seed. I don't think they'll be there. But so, where are those teams going to land? I think Gonzaga's probably going to land a 7, but they could be a 6 too. Kansas definitely. I'm telling you, I looked at resume again today. If they didn't have Kansas on their shirt, they'd be probably a 9 seed. Seriously, that resume is not. They're 21-12. That's like a bubble team's resume.
I've been saying this since we played them. They look terrible.
Oh,
I'm not even like I even think Self knows they look terrible.
So that game, I told you the Kansas fans are sitting next to me, and the guy goes, I'm just telling you, this team's terrible. And then he was right off the get-go. He's like, Hunter Dickinson's terrible. And I always thought Hunter Dickinson was a pretty good player. Like I go, man, when we got him, I'm not sure I wouldn't trade Hunter for Kalk,
Right.
And the more I watch him this year, I'm like, man, he's right.
I mean, he's just the motor. His motor isn't there.
His motor and Kalk are about the same.
He's complacent, right? And it's just like,
wow.
Good for you though. Good for you taking advantage of the system, but it is what it is. We're in a different age.
So anyway, so a great question. Boy, if they second round, they play Gonzaga.
I'm taking them over.
Now, how would?
I'm not a Red Storm fan by any means.
I'm trying to think how they would match up. I think Nembhard would be really a kind of a tough matchup for him because I don't think they have a quote-unquote true point guard.
That's a tough matchup for most. But Ashes as well. But it's just like with their aggressiveness and their pressure.
DK inside, that would be even matchup probably.
That pressure and aggressiveness, like nobody you can't adjust to that. Like you don't really know what's coming until it actually happens. I think
they're a little bit longer, than us and most teams in the Big East. I think they'd be able to handle that pressure especially with Nembhard delivering the ball on the pressure.
I hear what you're saying, but then his energy is expended, 10 times, and now he's probably not producing what he should.
Can Gonzaga hit shots too? Enough,
Right.
Like. I was shocked at one point. They showed we were shooting 50%. It seemed to me like we were shooting about 20%.
Yeah, shooting pretty badly.
Because we weren't getting the ball. We just weren't getting in rhythm on offense. And they were taking us out of it. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a great defensive team. But their defense is enhanced by their fouling.
That's their largest asset.
The best thing last night was Shaka just going at a timeout. Shaka just goes, you could just tell he was frustrated by it. And he's just like, look. It's a team that's not going to get called for fouls they make. It's going to win this game.
Right. A lot of respect for that guy, leading the helm there. So it's like they get away with some stuff.
So I don't want to forget about this, but let's do it. Let's talk about one of our sponsors first, and then we'll come back to this because this is a good talking point. CareMinders Home Health Care. Thank them very much as we roll into the big-time NCAA tournament coming up, and they're going to be a sponsor as well. When you're in need of care for your injured, ill, or senior loved one, reach out to CareMinders Home Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many years of experience. You'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care for your comfort, peace of mind, and well-being. Their phone number is 402-532-1383. And better yet, before you reach out for their services, because you may not know exactly what you need right now, and maybe it's going to be 3 years down the road, go to caremindersnebraska.com. They'll give you everything you need. You'll see everything they offer, and you'll be able to know exactly when the time comes what you need. That's caremindersnebraska.com. Thank you so much, Careminders. Okay, I want to go into this. So, the dust up at the end of the game last night.
Yep.
So I saw somebody had got the video of Mac talking to Hurley, Mac explaining, hey, I'll talk to him. I don't know what went on. Hurley and him were kind of shaking hands. And then Luke Murray comes up. Mm-hmm. Or we talked about this last night. Mm-hmm. Luke Murray comes up, and they had the video somewhat slowed down, and you could plainly see what they were saying. And Luke Murray comes up and gets in Mac's face about disrespect and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Mac wasn't having any of it. And he goes to him, and he goes like this. He goes, you were the guys that started it with the whole ring. He pointed to his hand. Right. And Luke Murray goes, it wasn't me. And then Mac got really pissed and goes, yeah, it was your team and your program. And you disrespected us. So don't start in on my kid for doing something you shouldn't have done.
After disrespect. Yeah. Right. Which that was the whole thing with right at the end there. If you saw Jemiah, he started doing the kind of like pulled him away. But yeah, it was all we got this interturmoil beef, and it's fun. It's fun for the Big East, and it's fun for us as fans, and somebody posted that on Twitter too. They said, "Oh no, I know it's our buddy Robbie from over on 590." He just said, "Look, Hurley can't have it both ways. You can't go into the crowd, call people baldy, and point to your rings, and then not have that happen." Something like that. He goes, as far as I'm concerned, Jemiah can dunk on them anytime he wants. Absolutely. Don't throw rocks and hide.
You got to kind of take it. If you're giving it, you kind of got to take it. It's just like, we lost to Nebraska this year at home, right?
Yep.
We give it to them. We give it to them and their fans constantly, right? And we're walking out, and I run into Dorwart, and I go, Dorwart, we kind of got to eat this. And he goes, yeah, we do.
Have to.
We got to eat this.
Yeah, have to. I've been dealing with that all year, but that's just what it is, and it's just good. It's good fun, at the end of the day. There's just a basketball game, and there's nothing more than that, really.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and use our chat because we'd like to answer some more of your questions. Boy, this is a tough question tonight.
What we got?
Unsung hero.
I know.
What do you got for stats? What do we got?
We got Jemiah with 13. We got Ash with 13 and 7. Jemiah 13, 6 and 7.
What did Jackson
15, 7 and 4. Jackson at 14.
Yeah, he had a great
6,
game, I think.
2 turnovers, but to me, I have to go with him as unsung hero. I know he's kind of beating the stipulations, but his confidence finally, it came out and showed, and that wall we've been trying to talk about. He proved himself at the largest stage, and
yeah, we got nothing.
Granted, we didn't have any other individuals to kind of add to what he was able to provide.
Fedor, though, was trying to loosen that baby up.
I think that's where things kind of went the opposite way for us. I think he was coming in. He caught in early, right?
Yeah.
Matt kind of inserted him in early, and then was making an aggressive move. Was probably about to get a great shot off, and unfortunately, health is an issue, right? And that's just something that
he's got the ankle issue.
You got to be worried about.
And so I was just worried about him next week, but it looks like it's going to hurt tomorrow.
It's going to hurt
a couple
for a little
days, so it turns out like Thursday or Friday. But I bet you it looks to me like he can give us a few minutes.
I would say
because he was bouncing around pretty good there in the runway and the back.
I would just say, of course his adrenaline's running, so that thing's going to go swell once he gets to the hotel room and gets on the plane, flight, whatever. But Ben and Jeremy do amazing jobs.
Yeah.
They do amazing jobs, and I think we saw this with Ash at the beginning of the year, so. Yeah, I'm sure he'll have enough time off to be able to get to a place to where he's
I just worry because he's had so many ankle problems that those things reoccur and then they get almost worse the second time, right?
Absolutely.
So Jason didn't have the impact he did the first game last night, but still, he was all right today.
I mean, it's just 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals.
Yeah, he's growing, man.
One turnover, that's to me,
it's tough to follow up a good game with
absolutely. Like that was the best game of his career, and like you're going, which I believe is one of the best teams in the country. That of course you're on their home court, and we're expecting a lot. Our guys are tired, so. They've game planned for him now, right? I think he's kind of snuck up on some individuals and maybe been able to do some things that maybe weren't in the game plan. And now teams are probably looking out for, Jason Green and actually game planning for him. So it's a little bit different, too, when you are one of those future guys, on the game plan of the opposing team. So with a coach like Patino, of course, they're going to try to limit as much as possible.
Peter was putting in a bunch of messages and then he erased them.
Yeah.
So,
There's,
Hey, Peter,
let's just look forward to tomorrow.
Just let it rip, baby. Let it rip. So they're having a selection show over at Sokol tomorrow. And then after that, come on down here to Let Fly. Because we're going to do a selection show. We're going to break down where Creighton's part of the bracket is. We're going to break down Omaha's part of the bracket. And then we're going to give you tons of bracket tips. We're going to look at the bracket as a whole, see who got screwed, who didn't get screwed. I'll tell you from a bracketology standpoint where the committee effed up. We're really all sitting on pins and needles as bracketologists because they have a lot of new members this year, more than normal.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, oh boy, what are they doing? Who are they looking at? What are they doing?
I'll tell you. Not that I know it, but I'll tell you. More storybook than you think.
Yeah.
It's generally what happens when the changing of the tide.
Well, and they do have steady guys like Dan Gavitt that have been there forever. Like you would think he'd have more of a role in like guiding them, and there are some veteran members on there. But you get a guy like Mark Coyle is on the committee. Day's work is done. Thursday, he flies back to Minneapolis and fires his coach.
Yeah.
Comes back, probably gets him back to Indianapolis at 4 a.m., doesn't get any sleep. Yep. How focused is he going to be? He's looking for his next coach, I
think he's already got it.
That's kind of like where they need to somewhat get away from these athletic directors a little bit and get more like maybe, I'm not saying Jay Billis, but maybe.
I wouldn't even say Jay Billis, but maybe even like a Jay Wright.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Or Roy Williams.
Somebody that watches tons of
or like one of these guys that have been through the system, know the X's and O's.
Don't change anything. Use the same procedures because I think their procedures are rock solid. Like, it takes all the bias out of it. Right?
Absolutely.
I think they do a great job there. But you're right. Get a guy like Jay Wright who watches a ton of basketball.
Right.
And maybe get just a random. And you got to be careful not to put, let's say, Fran Fraschilla in there because he'd be prejudiced toward the Big 12, or Jimmy Dykes be prejudiced toward the Southeast Conference. You need to get just somebody, Nick Baugh, who sees, then he might be prejudiced toward the Big East.
A little bit, just a little bit.
But he does Big Ten too.
But he does a great job of staying pretty level.
Just there's different guys like that you could put in there to maybe so it's not all athletic directors. So you kind of get out of that mode, and you don't have to train those dudes like. They probably don't watch other than their own team. They probably don't watch a lot of hoops.
Right. Absolutely. No, I'm all in with that one.
Okay, let's talk about Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Fabulous sponsor this year. If you're looking for new windows, maybe some doors to go along with it, that's what I did. I threw a nice new brand screen door going out to my deck on that. They have a trusted reputation with years of industry experience and a solid reputation for excellence. They've earned the trust and loyalty of homeowners all over Nebraska. You can count on them for reliable service, quality products, and unmatched professionalism from start to finish. They did my house. They just made it look so good. And as I was saying the other night, our energy bills have gone down incredibly from our new windows. And I can't wait for the nice weather to do it so I can pop them open, baby. Get some nice fresh air in the house. So check them out. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha. You'll be blown away. I'm telling you, just if you don't believe any of my stupid basketball takes, believe this. You'll be blown away by their prices. When you check the other manufacturers and check Discount Window and Door, you will be unbelievably surprised. And then when you see the quality, you'll be like, what the hell? Why am I paying all this when I can get a great deal from them and the great service they provide? So give them a call, 402-884-8989. That's 402-884-8989. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha. All right. We got some more. We got tons of stuff here.
Nice.
Ooh, question for you.
Nice.
What do you think of Kadari? And here, let me finish. He says, I see a guy that has to grab and hold You're not going to like this. Push off, since he's not a good shooter. I don't know about.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a good shooter. He doesn't.
The grab and hold thing comes on the defensive end, but
Yeah,
offensive end, he's not a good shooter.
I wouldn't say.
Austin, he's not.
I wouldn't say beyond the arc. He's
15 feet in.
He's probably one of the
money.
best mid-range, but he knows his game, and so that's kind of his thing. He's not looking to shoot beyond the arc, but if he gets to his spot, he's an A1 professional. You know, at the end of the day, he's the top tier guy. But they just have a lot of different pieces that work for them, right? Mm-hmm. Potentially you have some guys hitting some threes, and eventually, he will step back and shoot that. But he's looking to get to his spot because he knows he's shooting 70% uncontested, 80% majority of the time. That 15, 17 feet in, that the game's a game. At the end of the day, everybody's not a 3-point specialist. Everybody's not, the bruiser down low. Got to have some guys that play in the middle. And the game, since analytics have gotten to it, it's been either you shoot a three or you shoot a layup. Right. And we haven't seen the mid-range in a while, but the guys who shoot the mid-range are generally the guys going to the next level.
And we kind of get it. We kind of get a lot of it because we play that drop coverage. So we get a lot of guys we want them to take that shot.
Absolutely.
And most guys are not comfortable with that shot.
They're not. And
Kadari is.
He is. And beyond comfortable.
And until this year, when he was at Seton Hall, I always looked at him and went, because we have done a fabulous job on him over the years. And I always looked at him like, seriously, this dude is first team all conference, Mm-hmm. This year I kind of went, even though there was too many guys on the St. John G paper, this year was kind of a year I thought, well, maybe he should have been, But he's that's his game. And I'm just, the other thing I'm just always shaking my head at is he's out on the 3-point line and guys run at him.
Right.
And then he goes right back. Don't run it. Let him shoot that.
Because he is a threat, but it's also not only can you put it on the ground, he's a decent passer. So it's you have to.
I would never run at him. I would just say, go ahead.
Him aggressively in a way. Because if he has too much time, now he's just teeing that thing up. And more likely, since he does play like a pro and he is a pro, he's probably going to hit that more than he doesn't, But if you're contesting it, generally he's probably not. But if you just give him all the time in the world and allow him to just get those feet set, shoot, But that's a guy I know for a fact that you don't want to get going, So a lot of that, too, is run him off the line. Granted, where he wants to get to is where we're running him off from, and it's now we're putting in, a bad situation. But just a tough guard, tough cover at the end of the day. And I just think, he doesn't probably get enough credit that's deserved.
Okay, I figured out who both. Well, first of all, that's John Gross. That coaches Akron, okay? The other guy's Travis Steele, ex-Xavier coach in Miami. Okay. That's who that was. Okay. Yeah, so you got two former power conference coaches going at it here in the MAC.
Nice.
Championship, 30 seconds to go, tie game. Miami's got the ball. This could be it. We got Aaron. Aaron says, really unfortunate Pop went down early in the year because this season could have been special.
I don't.
Sure. I mean,
I don't know about that. I don't know about. I don't want to say it, but I think we're better. Just because those guys had to really come together as a unit. At the beginning of the year, they were picked preseason X with, aspirations of whatever. And then that happens. Guys have to kind of come together and become this one cohesive unit, which you probably don't have this team and this chemistry if we have said guy, right? I don't think it looks the same at all. And I think we probably dropped some that maybe we shouldn't have said if individual is in rotation. But we don't know that, at the end of the day. We don't know that, but I also know that they have bought in from 15 to 1, to where at the beginning of the year, I can't say that was the case. Yeah.
I've even talked to Jemiah about this. If you remember back when Pop was playing, Jemiah was
that thing was
stand around a lot, because he told me too. I said, "Were you kind of deferring?" He goes, "Oh, absolutely. Pop was the guy."
Right.
So I'm kind of deferring to him. Those two guys kind of have similar games. They're different sizes,
in a way,
but they kind of have similar games. They like to take it downhill and go to the rack.
Right.
And
playmakers.
So he was like, "I didn't want to get in Pop's way. I was more trying to, just
taking a back seat in a way."
Yeah. Right. I don't think we'd have seen Jemiah's development had Pop been there. I think it just seemed to me like there was times where we just seemed like we weren't getting the full potential out of everybody on the floor.
Not at all. And like to that point.
And guys were standing around waiting for Pop to do something, kind of type.
To that point too, we wouldn't have seen Jemiah bud and grow, right?
Yeah.
Like early on, he was probably a little too rushed and kind of doing things out of character and trying to make things happen and where maybe they weren't there, because when he finally got the ball, he felt a little pressed and had to go, make a play, to where now he's comfortable in knowing, like, I'm one of the last guys. I'm one of, and so I just think mentally, as far as everything is gone, it's just boosted the confidence, of the second tier guys, the third tier guys, the guys coming off the bench to really buy in to say next man up too type of mentality, to where it might have not, it wouldn't have looked the same, Right. We of course would have loved to have Pop, but it's just like we can't take this for granted, because I honestly think this is one of the best teams I've seen as just a full unit. As just
probably
not
as talented as last year's
team. Not as talented
No.
as like any team, but it's just they're as a team. And when you're talking a team, like they are top to bottom, from the coaches all the way down to the managers. They're just all in this.
We're probably way more talented this year at point guard than we were, say, when Doug played. But joking. I'm joking with you, buddy.
Tim, that's a tough statement there.
But that went right over your head at first, and then you figured it out.
It didn't.
Then you figured it out.
I almost shouldn't have even paid attention to it. That was the whole point. I was like, should I even listen to it, or that should just go that way?
Just giving me crap.
That should just go that way.
By the way, so Akron took the ball all the way down the floor and laid it in at the buzzer. We mentioned the CSU game, CUSA game. I had it mixed up. North Texas, they're in the AAC. So North Texas and UAB.
Yeah.
That game, the Conference USA game, it looks like either they moved to a different arena or they fixed whatever, because they're still waiting. They should have tipped off like hours ago, and they're waiting to tip off now, and it's supposed to be on CBS Sports. Anyway, just a little tipping thing. But yeah, totally agree with you. But it would have been interesting to see how we would have.
Absolutely.
It killed our depth.
It did.
No doubt.
It did. But then we got Fedora.
Yeah.
So to say Pop's in the leniency with the NCAA and they're rolling, who's to say that actually goes through, right? So it's like there's just a lot of like, if, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but.
Yeah. And then we don't know, like, if Pop's still going to play 38 minutes, then.
Right. Right. So, there's a lot there.
And I think it kind of, I don't want to say inhibited, but Ash wasn't sure.
Not at all. And I think we've been able to really see him.
And this is by the way, this is no dig on Pop. Pop's a great human being and a great player. It's just chemistry.
It was a different dynamic. It was a way different dynamic. Now Ash feels like, hey, I have to, which early on we've seen him trying to press a little too much, right, and having some of those high turnover games. But yeah, I just don't think like the confidence would have been all the way there as it is for Ash, right?
Yeah. We already talked about worst call. That was the one where Ash first got pushed. We ran on. Bob says we ran out of gas. They hit 14 shots in a row. That was the game. Hopefully St. John's pressure defense will prepare us. We play for the tournament.
That's my thing.
Sure, but a lot of teams don't play like St. John's.
They don't. And that's
we've already played A&M. That'd be the other team that first come to mind. But we've already played them, so we know what they can do.
A lot of my disposition.
That was the other thing tonight. Despite the fact we lost the game, we did a much better job on second chance. We gave up some, but Troy's going to give up a few. But I thought we did a good job on that.
Yep.
And I don't think, for the most part, we turned it over at a crazy rate like we normally do.
We didn't. 13, but there was, we
had 34 in the first two games combined.
Absolutely. So. And there were just times where it was like,
what did they have?
Some of those were sloppy.
How many did they have?
They had 9.
Okay.
So, we did a decent job. But we also had, I think, 2 to 3 5-second calls. Like, when was the last time we had a 5-second call in a game?
And I don't know. 2 of those were Jason too, and Mac was pretty upset with him. Like, what?
Well, no,
that
should never happen.
Right.
You gotta especially
get the
an individual
ball
like
in,
Jason,
man.
like a heady player. Yeah. Generally, you're sitting there when you're counting inside of your head anyway. So either you're calling a timeout, you're throwing off this guy's leg, or So some of those were just, I think, the moment, right? And then, of course, they got their fans in the stand. There was just a lot more to the game than the actual game itself.
No, they've got the logo at the center court, so they must be playing at the same arena. So they must have fixed what was ever wrong. I don't know. It would look like a big hole in the roof to me, but whatever.
They probably called Matt. They called Matt.
Yeah, Neil. Yeah, Bob. Rover Sports says Neil had one. Yeah, he had a 5-second one too, where he just kind of like, oh, well, it's 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Neil.
Granted, one of those was really fast, but I was like, this is just unheard of.
I think the refs give these guys extra time, like especially when they're holding the ball guarded.
They give Patino. They give him just. They kind of give him some of the gold standard type. It's like the Kobe rules and the Jordan rules. It's just like some of that comes with who he is, I believe. Like which Mac is eventually starting to get there, and I see a tide turning too.
Part of it is they say he doesn't, he says, I never complain to the refs. But you see tonight, he complains to the refs.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
But he doesn't do it nearly as much as other coaches do. So I think the refs kind of like.
There's just a true respect factor. Yeah, and it's just like, I don't want to disappoint this, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, it's just.
I don't want him bad mouthing me.
Right, and then like he allows their guys to play.
I don't care if Mac bad mouths me, hell.
But yeah, I don't know. There's just more to that than I think the game, that we're seeing at the eye level.
Rover Sports says it. I always love these ones. We needed Trey Alexander and Arthur Kaluma tonight. We needed NIL to keep Trey. Trey was going to the NBA.
That's right. No, we didn't need Trey. Trey needs to be exactly where he is.
We could have used Kyle Korver tonight too, but that was 400 years ago.
We could have used a lot of people tonight.
We could have used Rodney Buford.
We could have used a lot.
Arthur Kaluma left. How has Arthur Kaluma's teams done when he's left? They've done nothing.
And it's just like it wasn't.
Okay, I'm not blaming Arthur. I'm just saying he hasn't.
No, it's not even that. It's kind of your point you brought up. If this game would have happened on Tuesday, I honestly like the Jays, but with the games we've had to play over the past 2 days, just wasn't in the cards today. Guys didn't have energy. We had the big fella out there playing exorbitant amount of minutes.
Yeah. You'll love this. Trey's crushing it in G League. Yeah, no shit. So that's why he went.
It needs to be where it needs to be. Right. Like
it's like,
and we would never keep getting these other players that are coming in. So we're going some people. We saw.
You can't have a roster of the Creighton's all-time grades.
Yeah, like we saw McAndrews.
We need Austin Chapman at point guard.
Yeah, no. We saw some guys bud today. We saw McAndrews grow. We saw Green finally just be consistent in a way. It's I don't know.
So Jackson Andrew needs to stay 4 more years. Well, yeah. He and Jason could be all-time greats. No sense for Greg McDermott to go to Indiana. I want to address that. This crap comes up all the time. This, to me, and tomorrow McDermott can say he's going to Indiana. Okay, but that talk is really waned. They're looking. I've heard the dude at Clemson, Brian Brownwell. Brownwell, is it? Yeah. He's going to Indiana, which is I think would be a great hire because he's done wonders at Clemson football school. Not a lot of research for basketball, but this crap comes up all the time. It's like, McDermott's going to Notre Dame. Greg McDermott is not going to Notre Dame.
He's going to Ohio State. We've heard this every year.
Well, I mean, he got on a plane there. He never left Omaha, but he basically told him, I think Chris Holtman's your guy, and that's who they hired. Need to be up more than 3.5. Right.
That was to beat them on their home court. We probably needed to initially win by
nice buffer
15 points, and then you would have won by like 7 or 8.
Yeah, right.
But this just wasn't in the cards for us to win. Honestly, I agree with you. I just didn't see it. I agree with you. Just Coach of the Year, they got what they got going in the history books, and Player of the Year, and I think there was a reason that they were as physical as they were with Calk, trying to prove their own points. There's just a lot to the game that I think just was allowed definitely today. It was like, just see how these guys get through it, you know. And if we shot it at 40% or higher, granted, yeah, we would have won by that 7-point game.
Yeah. So,
Excuse me.
to your point, when you go like to the Big East and you start mingling with some fans, you'd be blown away. Like, they know nothing about Creighton. They go, so do you just play in your on-campus gym? I'm like, dude, our arena seats 19,000. Okay, we're number 6 in attendance every year, and they're like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have no idea. No idea.
Yep. I think I saw something where somebody was saying we were like in Indiana. It was like, yep. Sure. Yeah, sure. That's where we are.
Yeah, that's the one good thing that basketball has done for Creighton University as a whole and for the enrollment is people now know where Creighton's at.
A little bit.
Like, now most people know. Absolutely. Back in the day when we first started going, people didn't know.
Absolutely.
You probably didn't know where the hell it was when they recruited you.
I know where it was, but a lot of family and friends, of course, did. And now everybody south, I would say, knows about Nebraska. Right. But, yeah, no, it's, it's taking a little while.
But anyway.
Look what Fox actually.
So when you're talking about that, so I'm sure teams like Xavier, Marquette, DePaul hasn't been good, but Xavier, Marquette probably feel that same thing that Creighton feels like when we go to the Big East tournament. It's you kind of feel like you're in somebody else's territory. You know,
absolutely.
I'm not talking about St. John's. I'm just saying,
which we are. Yeah, we go from Midwest to the East Coast.
Yeah, but I've always thought like what the Big Ten did. They started moving around. They had Minneapolis, they had Washington, D.C., they had it in New York that one year. They have, they move it around. Yeah. Big 12's kind of settled on Kansas City, but I liked it when they had it. I always thought they could have Omaha, Kansas City, Dallas. That'd be kind of cool for them, moving around a little bit.
Down 35.
I just don't think I just thought the Big East would be fun if they had it. Sure, have it Madison Square Garden every 2-3 years, but then, or maybe 2 years in a row, and then move it out to Chicago.
I could say
then move it to Cincinnati. Move it to D.C. Well, that'd be Georgetown's home floor, but who cares? You got it on St. John's home floor.
But this also the Garden.
I know.
So it's just like, that's tough.
I know.
I hear what you're saying, but it's like, historically, like we've seen the Big East tournaments, and there's been some historical games in that place for this tournament, and so like to see that in stores or in the Verizon, what is the Verizon Center, and I just don't. That probably wouldn't resonate the same.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it's all dollars, right. Too.
Tomorrow night, be here or be on YouTube, one of the two.
Right.
Watch our show. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot. Come down here. They're gonna have a bracket challenge here at Let It Fly too. By the way, we're gonna get set up tomorrow night, so that ought to be fun for everybody. They're gonna give away tons of prizes, so it's gonna be awesome.
Nice.
All right. Let's get to one more chat. Would you rather a Big East title and first round exit, or lose in the Sweet 16 again?
I'm going to say
this year I'd rather lose the Sweet 16 because if you get a Sweet 16, there's got to be the biggest statue of Greg McDermott built outside the
I would say every time.
time.
Yeah, I would say lose Sweet 16 every time.
I would like to win one of these. So.
Absolutely.
It's the one thing missing. And, we had a nice path. I was kind of hoping that Marquette maybe would upset or Xavier would upset St. John's. And then now we're playing
a little bit different.
In front of friends and family, right? In the Garden.
A little bit different game there.
There'd be this place is going to be sold out. No, it wouldn't be sold out.
Yeah, a little bit different there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I hear your point. 0-5 is painful, but, hey, we've been there 11 years, and we've been to the finals 5 times. That's pretty damn
That's
good.
high level, though. At the end of the day.
Look at the ACC.
You have to.
I bet you North Carolina hasn't been in the finals 5 times in the last 11 years.
No.
Right?
No.
So... All right. Anyway, tomorrow night, watch on Twitter too, at Bluejay Banner. I put out a tweet earlier. They've got a cool little flyer put up, and I've got it wouldn't load for me, but I've got the new copy of it. So we're going to put that up there so you'll see. By the way, if you're not doing anything the rest of the night, watch this San Diego and Irvine game. This is a big time basketball game. These two teams are really good. So anyway, we will be here tomorrow. We will give you everything you need to know to fill out your bracket and break down where Creighton's going and what Omaha's path going to be. It looks like they're going to be a 15, and gosh, there's still an outside chance. It looked greater earlier in the week. I know I was on TV and I was touting that, hey, there's a great chance they could be together, and then all of a sudden things happened. Montana upset Northern Colorado, so that brought a different. They moved down the list a bit and took away a spot and site, so to speak. So now it didn't look as good. So, but we'll see tomorrow. Thanks so much. All right, new season starts Thursday. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely.